I hate triangles and math is impossible. Auntie May, do you have any idea how to do this?
Why, yes, darling. What are you working on?
The law of sines.
Really?
Yeah.
The concept's actually quite simple once you understand.
Okay, will you teach me?
Of course.
Cool.
The law of sines is used to find missing side lengths and angle measurements. The triangle to the left is telling us that the capital letters in the formula represent the angle measures, while the lowercase letters represent the sides. The top formula is used to find angle measurements, while the bottom formula is used to find side lengths. And remember that sine always goes with the angle measurements and not the sides. So the first problem we're going to do is shown on the slide, and we need to solve for angle x, side y, and side z. So we can start out easy and find x first because we already have two angle measurements, and all we need to do is add them up, which equals 154, and subtract 154 from 180, and you get 26. So angle x equals 26. Now that we have found angle x, we can solve for side y. The first thing we need to do is set up a proportion with the law of sines formula. So when you set up a proportion for the law of sines, the angle and side have to be opposite from each other. So since we're solving for side y, we need to use angle measure 26. And because we are solving for a side, we are going to need to use the second formula listed. So we have y over sine 26 equals 7 over sine 68 because that is the only proportion that we can have with both sides of the information because we have a side and an angle measure. And when you're setting up the proportion, the sine always goes with the angle measure. The second step is pretty simple. All you need to do is cross multiply and then divide. So by multiplying, you should get y times sine 68 equals 7 times sine 26. Because you are solving for y, you need to get the variable alone, so you divide sine 68. And because you did it to one side, you have to do it to the other side, so you get y equals 7 times sine 26 over sine 68, or divided by sine 68. And you input that into the calculator and you get a really long decimal number which rounds to 3.3. So now the only variable we have left to solve for is side z. And we already have the angle measure and we're solving for another side, so we are going to use the same formula. So when you set up your proportion, it'll be z over sine 88 equals 7 over sine 68. And it's better to use information already given you in case you rounded with the other side unless you want to use all of the decimals that were given to you. This way your answer will be more accurate. So then you cross multiply and get z times sine 68 equals 7 times sine 88. Isolate the variable by dividing both sides by sine 68 and you get z equals 7 times sine 88 divided by sine 68. Put that into the calculator and you get 7.55, and that is rounded. So side z equals 7.55. And so that's how you solve for this problem, and we are going to do a second problem as well. In this second problem, we have one angle and two sides, whereas in the other problem we had two angles and one side. You can really solve for anything you want, but we are going to solve for angle A first. Because you are trying to find an angle, we are going to use the top formula. And we only have one set of complete information, so we have to use that. So it would be sine 129 over 27 equals, and because we're trying to find angle A, sine A over 18, because 18 is opposite of angle A. So you take that proportion and cross multiply to get 18 sine 129 equals 27 sine A. And this problem is kind of special because you can't really divide 27 sine, so you have to do it separately. So first you are going to divide 18 times sine 129 by 27. And when you do that, you get 0.52. And then you divide that by sine. And you can do that by multiplying arcsine by 0.52, because arcsine is basically like sine to the power of -1. And once you do that, you'll get your answer, which is 31.2. So angle A equals 31.2. Now we have two angles, and it'll be much easier to solve for angle B, so we can do that real quick. So 129 plus 31.2, which equals 160.2, and subtract that from 180 because all the angles in a triangle add up to 180 degrees, and you get 19.8, so angle B equals 19.8. Only thing we have left to solve for is side C, so we're going to set up a proportion with the sides and angles. So 18 over sine 31.2 equals C over sine 19.8. You could also use 27 over sine 129, but it doesn't really matter as long as you're consistent. And then you cross multiply, so 18 times 19.8 equals C times sine 31.2. And get the variable alone by dividing both sides by sine 31.2. And you put that entire equation into the calculator and you get 11.77. So side C equals 11.77.
Thanks for helping me, Auntie May. I understand this a lot better now.
Of course, I'm always happy to help my favorite niece. Do you want a nice nutritious snack before you finish your homework?
I love one. Thank you.